Welcome to Feisty Chess. I've got a 10-5 game here on Lee Chess. We've got white, so I've played before. Going against Maisa Lopez. Looks like we may get a Morra Gambit. And I always hope for my opponent to accept. Other options are D3, D5, Knight F6. Okay, there's the main event. So here's the Morra Gambit. Let's see what kind of approach black takes. We'll be taking this approach, of course, for the next couple of moves. D6, okay. Knight F6 would land black in some shaky territory after E5 here, common trap. Black knows this. Plays E6 to blunt the diagonal of the bishop. We're going to castle. Now Knight F6. Queen E2. Next move will likely be rook to D1, lining up our rook against that weak D pawn and on the same file as black's queen. The Morra is a great way, and gambits in general are a great way to work on your chess, because you start to learn to play for initiative and to play for piece activity and to play for an attack, and also to play positionally. It's not just a tactical workout. Okay, E5 right now. Now usually black goes with bishop E7 first. I don't think that makes a big deal of difference right now. He could play a piece to G4, but not too concerned about that right now. Just carry on with rook D1. We've got all but two pieces really fighting in this battle. Our bishop will probably go to E3 to overprotect D4. That's the one weakness we have in the Morra. And this rook then will find its true home on C1. Okay. So we've transposed with a little move order difference into the main line of the Morra accepted, according to the old main line, according to Marc Esserman. Okay. And rook C1. I think B4 is the idea next. One idea. Funny looking idea. Let's see what black does. He's likely to play bishop G. He can go, let's see, bishop here, bishop there. If bishop to E6, I'll probably go B4. And I'm still going on memory here. Bishop D7, B4 just drops a pawn now. The idea is this knight is the only thing really protecting this E pawn, because that D pawn is pinned. But bishop D7 breaks the pin. Now, however, I think I have knight G5, knight B5. Either that or just A3, and I start playing for the pressure on F7. Is knight B5 any good here? No, I don't think so. I think I want to go with the A3 line. Knight B5 happens when black plays a knight to E5 rather than pushing the pawn. think anyway. A3 is a useful move. We're just going to play B4 on the queen side here. Black will probably play B5 here. We'll just come back to B3. Probably rook C8 from black. We're up on time. It's always nice. This actually reminds me of a line that a friend of mine plays at the chess club I go to. We may have transposed into it even. But I think I've got some extra time in this one. All right, knight d5 looks good, and I'm going to recapture with the pawn. This is a little bit of a trap. If he takes my pawn, I've got bishop d6, and I'm going to win that knight after he moves his queen. I'm sure black will see that, though. So the idea that I'm going on, the good idea here is knight takes, pawn takes, and then his knight, he loses his pawn if he comes to d4, and everything else is backwards. He can't go to a7 because of the bishop. He has to go home to b8, and then that knight looks pretty silly, actually. Problem is, I've helped his pawns out a bit. This weak pawn is no longer weak. But I should be able to... Bishop takes... Yeah, pawn takes is my original idea. I'm going to stick with it. Okay. How do I make progress here? He's likely to move his bishop just to get d7 for his knight. I can hamper that with h3. Or actually, I could just move this knight. That would have the same effect. The knight doesn't have many good places to go, does it? Let's figure out that knight in a minute. I also like how it constrains black's bishop, so we're going to play h3. And if bishop f5, I'll think about g4, but what I like about bishop f5 is it prevents him from playing f5, which I think would be a good move. f5 might be a good move here, even. I might want to get g4 in as soon as I can if he doesn't play f5. Okay, there's f5. I might have knight takes e5 here, right? Because now I have this tactic. Okay, f5 has opened up this diagonal. So knight takes e5. I've got the better active pieces, so let's look at this. I might profit from opening up the center here. Knight takes. He's got to take. It's the only line worth considering here. Knight takes, and then pawn push is check. King slides over, and I take, and the material situation is the same, but I've opened the board a bit. It ends with a pin on my queen, doesn't it? Also lets that knight out, but okay, that gets me the 2 bishops. I think that's something. I'm gonna go for it. You have to keep your eyes open for tactics when you play the Morra Gambit. It's 90% of your game is tactics. Although there are positional considerations here, like what I've done to this knight, and how so many of black's pieces are still cramped on the back of the board. Yeah, I'll have some initiative here. I can get my queen out of this pin with the tempo on this bishop, which doesn't have a lot of good squares. And then I could play something like bishop c5. More or less even on time here. Okay, we've got to have our follow-up check. Do I have anything better than just grabbing? Probably not. So I better get my piece back. Oh yeah, the queen. Now, oh, it ends in a skewer, doesn't it? It ends in a skewer. The tactics work out in my favor. I thought that this pawn was gone and I thought there was a pin, but this is better for me. So I see the skewer. I'm looking for anything better. No, I don't think so. Okay, I'll have the exchange, but black does have that extra pawn and he controls the center with them. Those nice pawns. My plan will be to trade pieces, although I might retain an initiative here, because he'll have to capture on the back rank, probably with his queen. And he's still got that knight undeveloped. I take with the rook or the pawn. He's going to blockade. I might be able to double rooks, so I'm going to take with the rook. I'm hitting e5 twice. I think knight c6 is kind of necessary here. I wonder if I have a way to... Oh, he doesn't go for knight c6. Well, I can just win this pawn now, right? Rook takes or queen takes? Or other moves. If he's trying for a pawn push and some kind of attack, I don't think he has enough pieces to make that work. I'm going to take with the rook. Where does the queen have to go? Yeah, I can get a rook to the 7th here. If the queen goes away from this bishop, then the knight is pinned. The knight is stuck defending that bishop from b8. Should I just put my rook on the 7th? Yeah, I can do that with tempo here. Sensible idea. Thing is, it's gonna play f3. But I think I can just go queen e5 there. And then he's got queen g6. If I take after f3, g takes f3, then he can take here, and I don't like the looks of my king position. So maybe I will play f3 here. I don't need to be in a hurry. Well, his knight is coming to c6, isn't it? It's a bit of a pain. Okay, rook e6, rook e7, f3, queen e5, queen g6, threatening mate. I don't like the look at g4. You can sack the bishop. Okay, I got a material advantage. I'm gonna play this safe and stop f3. He does have a check, but I'm gonna get my king to h2 or h3 here. Now I'm down on time. If he plays knight c6, he doesn't have that check anymore, at least. Knight c6, rook c5, and I've got an initiative, funny enough, going right back. He'll need to defend the bishop or move the knight again. Okay. He wants to take on h3. I think, yeah, h1 is a safe spot for my king. Gotta get out of this pin so this pawn is protected. Now I can actually bring a bishop to c2 maybe? He might play bishop f5 here, which I think would be good. Okay, that's not a threat really because I can interpose with the queen and I have a rook on the back rank. So let's get that rook to the 7th. What do you say? If he tries to defend that bishop with the rook, if he tries to defend the bishop with a rook, I think I could just take the bishop, and he's not really defending anything because of his back rank. So rook here, rook takes, knight takes, rook takes. Black has no checks. I'm up a piece. And he can't recapture this rook because there's the back rank mate from the queen. I also need to watch my back rank as long as black has his queen posted there. He's probably contemplating this sacrifice, in which case I'll obviously take, but then on queen check I won't block yet, but I'll slide my king to g3, which means my queen can keep an eye on this pawn. Got a loose bishop over here, I need to keep an eye on that. All right. All right, his pieces are pretty useless. He's got sacrifice ideas here, so let's just get rid of these bishops, huh? Yeah. Simplification is good for us because of the exchange I've got and the time disadvantage at this point. 5-second increment, not 10-second like the last game I played. So my pieces are well coordinated now. Where's this bishop want to go? Where does it want to go? Maybe just right here. Keeps an eye on c6. I just want to keep this knight penned in. Keeps an eye on that. Now I'm hitting the bishop twice. Again, he can't defend with the rook. I got the initiative going here, but only 24 seconds left. All right. Now I think we just, yeah, this looks really good. I'm still making threats. He can't take. He's got to play something like King B8, doesn't he? And then I've got, Queen A2. Look at that, board vision. Yes. Yeah, King G8, Queen A2 should finish things. What does he have besides? I mean, if he tries to defend with the knight, I just chop it. And again, he has no checks. My queen is excellent on E2. It goes this way, it goes that way, and it covers key back rank squares. Okay. Yeah, Queen A2, he can't move the rook. He can only interpose with the bishop. So that should cover it. We used our time wisely here. That's actually one of the ideas of getting these queenside pawns going, not just to claim some more space on the board, but to allow the queen this Queen A2 maneuver. So I might not have seen that, honestly, if it hadn't been for some of those lines from the book I have on the Morra, Mayhem and the Morra, because I'm not very good at seeing these sideways moves a lot of times, or the board vision idea. Remember, board vision is different than how far you can see on the chessboard in terms of how many moves ahead. That's like, there's 3 different types of chess vision. There's calculation vision, which is what that is. There's pattern recognition, which is, all 3 of these are very helpful. But then there's board vision, which we think about the least. And that's just seeing moves, all the moves that are available to you on the chessboard, especially those moves that are hard to see, like backwards moves, long distance moves, lateral moves. I've always had a hard time with diagonal moves, especially long distance bishop diagonals. So anyway, board vision helped me to find that that mating idea, queen a2. So always look for checks, whether from you or your opponent. All right, I think this is basically the line that my friend at Chess Club likes to play against. He plays chess pretty solidly, doesn't take a lot of gambles, doesn't think about sacrificing pawns too often. But he plays it with a6. And actually that's one of my complaints about the Esserman's Mayhem in the Morra book, is it doesn't cover this bishop d7 idea, which I think is one of the best defensive ideas black has. It looks like a silly place to put the bishop, but the point is you're moving the bishop, you're developing it somewhere, you're breaking the pin on this d-pawn, which this bishop in e7, passive as it is, defends solidly, and you're allowing your rook to come out here to c8. So if you combine it with this idea of a6 to prevent knight b5, and maybe I should have played knight b5 here. Looks like in the games that are among the Masters database, it's all a3. Wonder what the computer would think about knight b5. I kind of just threw it out on the basis of I don't think that's what you're supposed to play here, but that's not really concrete knowledge. Yeah, it doesn't like the situation. Oh, this drops e4 among other things. So that's enough to rule it out right there. So yeah, a3 was better. b4. Okay, it likes going back to a2 with the bishop. I wanted to keep the option of queen a2 because in case of something like this, we trade, and then there's queen a2. I guess there'd be queen a2 either way. But I went back to b3. Bishop seems a little more mobile there. Okay, so we're down a pawn, but even the computer here says that we're equal. Black's pieces are very kind of cramped up behind that backward d-pawn, and our pieces are flowing quite freely. So the computer likes h3, a slower approach. I suppose I could have done that. I think h3 and then queen e8. Probably this idea of bishop here. Let's see, h3. This is the kind of line that is examined in the book, and then queen a2 is a nice way to hit this pawn. Black can defend with queen d7, but then I've got knight here, don't I? Now knight d8. Computer likes black here, but gosh, knight d8 is an ugly move to have to make. But this pawn is nice in that it guards this d5 square. And I suppose he can kick my knight at some point. And he's got this f-file open for his rook. Maybe that's not the way to go about it in this particular position. I think this is Esserman's idea, though. How to put more pressure on that pawn? You really can't. Computer really likes black. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look at that chapter in the book. Important chapter. One of the best defenses to the Morra is this old main line where you just play, black plays e5, so white can't. He gives himself a backward pawn. The extra pawn is kind of weak, but it's still an extra pawn. And other than that, that cramps his game a little bit, but he gets castled, and you play a game of chess. So I'll have to look at that. I think that's chapter 2 in Esserman's book. Okay, it does not like e takes d5 here. Knight to b8. I really liked how this turned out. And yeah, f5 looked like a really great move, but I think you got to go king h8 first. f5, yeah, and I found wow, up a piece. I found knight takes e5. And it doesn't even say you should trade here. You just shouldn't even take the knight. It has a rook trade and then queen to e8. Taking the knight, wow, d6. Yeah, because this leads to an exchange. Bishop c5, queen g5. Taking with the rook is probably a mistake. E4. What about knight c6? Does that work? Bishop d5. Hitting the knight again. Yeah, and I suppose the knight has to move, and white can probably find a way to grab this pawn. Knight to b8. Rook c7. Yeah, it all looks really good for white at this point. Okay, computer likes queen takes e5. Either one is good. I maybe should have gone with queen takes e5 because I was down on time, and with the exchange up, I might as well trade queens. Okay, I'm curious about rook e7 here. f3, queen e3. No, so the point is the queen, after this, the queen also defends h3, I guess. F takes g2. Not this. I mean, that's winning enough, I guess. Trouble is the queen comes down here with a check after these exchanges. And Black's king gets a little loose. It's a little bit shaky, but he doesn't have any more checks, and the queen is right nearby to defend our king. And just the one undefended piece. Queen f6, queen d4. Okay, we just got an extra piece, but with those heavy pieces on the board and our king lacking some shelter, that's the computer's way to win. I liked my practical idea of f3 here. Bishop c2. I suppose I could have gone for that right away. Oh, rook f7. That would have been one way to go about it, because I have a mate on d8 if he takes. What if rook here? Queen takes. Oh yeah, queen takes, and then we got a mate on f8. A lot of back rank troubles for black. I went with a simpler idea. Honestly, this bishop could just go anywhere. I just wanted a double attack on this black bishop. Now rook e8. Yeah, we got a mate in 8. He's got to play knight d7 because that one falls even more quickly. So, showing the computer mate here where black resigned. It's like that. For those of you watching at home. Okay. All right, another good rapid game. I miss these rapid games. I play much better chess and I learn a lot more, and I hope you guys do too. So thanks for watching and stay feisty.